We shall pause the music. Can you just sit a little back so that... Yeah, it's good. Are you recording with the mic? Yes, we are. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're joined with Neil, which you have seen already once.
I was in here at the very beginning.
Oh, so for a few episodes.
Yes,
Yeah.
a couple. Yeah.
Yes, great. And of course, David, the man. And today we will be talking about a great movie called Free Solo, which Neil and I have watched last week.
And which I have not seen.
So we have an impartial view on it from you. And the
Yeah, it
movie
sucks.
okay there. And the movie really caught our hearts, if you want to say. And
It was a great documentary.
really good. Yeah, it's a documentary. So Neil, do you want to tell us a bit about it and
Sure.
what it is?
So it follows this rock climber called Alex Honnold, who likes to free solo. And what free soloing is climbing rock faces without ropes. So most rock climbing, they use ropes so that, if they fall, they're still latched in and they don't die.
Yeah, they don't die.
And then with free solo, there's no ropes. So Alex really likes to free solo, and what I found really interesting, which the documentary explained, was the reason he started free soloing is because he didn't have friends growing up, which meant that he would have to climb like in the gym all alone, because he was too scared to ask people to
Go
help
with
him
Yeah.
climb. So that's how he got into climbing on his own. And that, like, he's a really good climber, and he climbed Half Dome, which is a very respectable mountain, free solo in Yosemite, and he was the first person ever to do so in like 2008 or something. Nobody had thought like anybody would do this because it's a really high mountain. And then in 2017 he outdid himself and he climbed El Capitan in Yosemite, which is a 3,000 foot face.
It's just a face, straight
Like
face.
it's
Wow.
a flat face of sheer granite, right? Like the holds are the smallest things you can imagine. Like they're the tiniest things, and he climbed that without a rope, 3,000 feet up, and most
Which is
climbers-
900
yeah, nine,
yeah,
just to
it's-
convert
it's
it.
almost
900 to 1,000 meters.
1
yeah.
kilometer. Yeah.
Most rock climbers say it's one of the hardest rock faces to climb, even with a rope.
Yes.
And to attempt that without a rope is
It's almost suicidal.
it's insane.
Yeah.
It's 3,000 feet. It takes a long time to climb. Most people take multiple days to climb it with
Yeah.
ropes. This man climbed it in 4 hours.
And the thing that really caught me from the movie is that it was based a lot on just Alex's character, right? It wasn't just okay, here's this guy. Let's focus on what he's doing. It was more like, okay, here's this guy. Let's focus on him, right? Like let's see how his life is, what he does, what he thinks, why he's doing this, and the reasons, right, that brought him to do this, right? And it was just so interesting, and it was just so amazing to see this one guy, right, that values rock climbing so much, right, that he's willing to do this just because he wants to do it, right? Like rock climbing was for him like his whole life.
Yeah.
Because he was like, he just had this in the back of his mind all the time, right? All he would do was rock climb, right?
There was also this part where he fell and broke it, like he sprained his ankle. So his ankle was in like restraints, like a cast and a restraint. And what does he do the next day? He goes rock climbing
With the cast.
with a cast. Like his entire life revolves around rock climbing. There was also this part where he had recently met a girl, and he obviously took her rock climbing because that's
Yeah.
his life. And he fell a couple of times because of her, and so he considered breaking up with this girl that by all rights is a fantastic girlfriend,
Yeah.
just because
She brought him bad luck, or like she made him
she
fall.
wasn't the best at rock. Well, yeah, she made him worse at rock climbing, which I thought was very interesting take on things. Like by the end of the movie, he'd moved in with her,
Yeah.
and even then, when she asked him hey, if I told you not to do this, would you not do it? And he's like, no,
I will still do it.
when it comes to this, you don't matter.
Like,
And I will do this no matter what.
like that's so interesting, and you see this character, right, start from this guy that's single, whatever, just doing his own thing, and then you have to deal with everything with the thought of having a girlfriend as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? Like, doesn't that make it so much more difficult for him? It seemed like it just didn't.
It didn't make any difference at all. Like,
And like his dad had Asperger's, right? And so I think that the way that Alex grew up also made him almost insensitive to some things, right? Not that he wasn't able to feel as much as his girlfriend wanted him to say, but just that he wasn't used to doing that, right?
Yeah.
And so you really see this character development of him trying to be a better boyfriend, being more considerate and everything, all as he's trying to balance his training and really climbing El Cap free solo. And so that was just so crazy. And so like one of the main questions that I was thinking of was that, is it worth it, right? And can you get, like, would you want to get to the point in life where you have this strong passion of yours, right? It takes over everything. Would you want that?
So like me,
Yeah.
personally,
Yeah. So two things. One, would you want to have such a passion, right? That is like that just takes your whole life and makes it so that it's your main thought all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And two, would you ever get to a point where you would want to risk your own life just because like the achievement from succeeding in that activity is just so great?
personally, I wouldn't be able to devote myself like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be well balanced, or at least I try to be.
Well-rounded, yeah.
And it would conflict with certain values that I hold. Like, I do want to have a family.
Yes.
I do want to be like a good father one day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that may get in the way of that.
Of course.
But I do think that it's important that people do feel that way, because that's how humans push their limits.
Yes.
And I'm always looking to progress. Like, I think it's important to to progress, even if it's just rock climbing. Like, sure, he didn't advance some, like,
well, he did
medicine.
advance, in some field,
no,
right?
He didn't advance something that's going to be really helpful to, like, society as a whole. But I think what he's still doing is important, because people can be inspired, or
I
just
think
setting
that is
limits.
helping society, right? You're
Okay,
inspiring
yes,
others, right?
yes.
So that is helpful.
Yeah. So it's, yeah.
But so then, are you saying that you want others to do that, but you wouldn't do that yourself? So like that.
Yes.
Okay. And is that morally right?
Well, it's not necessarily, like, I don't really want, like, I don't care if someone didn't do it. Like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but aren't you saying that like that's how great achievements come to be?
Yes, but I'm like.
But then if no one is doing that, if everyone is being
because
selfish in a sense,
people can achieve great things without being completely devoted, right?
do you think so?
Yes.
but wouldn't the magnitude of these achievements
It may be lesser,
a
though.
lot?
Exactly.
Like, if there was nobody who was this dedicated to rock climbing, we would not have had anybody who climbed a 3,000-foot rock face
Yeah.
without ropes. Like, that would never have happened,
Yeah.
because, well, it's, there's other things that person would value. And similarly in other fields too, like, if there weren't people who were
Fully
completely dedicated
Yeah.
to their craft, we wouldn't have stuff. Like, for example, Alan Turing is
Yeah.
somebody I respect a lot. And if he hadn't dedicated his entire life to, his research and his machines,
Then we wouldn't have.
maybe the field
Yeah.
of computer science would have been back like another 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's only because these people put in so much extra effort that they're remembered and that they have an impact.
Exactly.
I was wrong in saying that I wouldn't care, because I do, and those are really good points. I just think naturally, they're just people's personality. Some personality traits will then lead to that. Some people just are able to just devote all of their energy towards something that they find interesting or useful, or just they obsess over it.
Yeah.
It's definitely important, for obvious reasons, like what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that I am built that way, and I don't think I'd be capable of doing that.
Do you think that objectively we can say that it's better to devote everything to one thing, or that it's better to be more well-rounded?
I don't think there's a way of answering that question because it's extremely subjective, right? Like for example, as David mentioned, he's not built that way and he wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas I find myself more on the side of, hey, it would be really cool if
You found
I
something
had something
like that.
I could dedicate every single waking moment to. And like even with a lot of like startup entrepreneurs that you see, like they dedicate most of their waking life to this one thing.
The one thing, yeah.
And I feel like that's really cool, and to them they'd probably value that more than having a more
Family or
balanced life.
friends, yeah.
Well, family I think falls in a different category.
What do you mean?
Like I think family is just always there, and like sure you can prioritize it a little like less, but you can never like get rid of that aspect.
No, I mean like having your own family, like not being a son to a family. Like Einstein, he was not. From what I know, Einstein was like not a very good husband, for example, because he always had his mind on something else and he wasn't able to dedicate enough time, right?
I don't know. Even I think even that part is just as like something that's there. Like for example, if I was a person lived a normal life, got a wife and kids, and then found my true calling, and then not super into it, then again, my family is just something that is there.
Sure.
That is an accessory to my life, but like you can't completely block it out. You can't.
Well, maybe not completely, but like you can get to a point where they just don't feel important, where they don't feel that you're putting enough time.
Yes, but that's as opposed to other things in life where your one passion is so important that you just stop reading books because you find this that important. You stop going fishing because you find this important. Like you can't do that with family, so I think family falls into a different bucket.
It will always
be
not there.
The same thing.
Yeah.
But like I feel like that would be a pretty cool thing to have, just to see.
I was just thinking about this last night actually when I was walking home. Like I was kind of fantasizing about being able to obsess over some, like let's say something in computer science.
Sure.
Just dedicate all my time to that to really become a master and really like advance, or like prove something that's useful or important. Like for example, just think about. Imagine proving P versus NP.
I do every day.
And
I
that's his dream.
This,
that's Neil's dream. Okay, for those who don't know P and NP, Neil, why don't you explain it?
They're basically Basically, P is all the problems in computer science that are easy to solve. Like you can solve them quickly, and NP is all the problems that are hard to solve. So like 1 + 1 is easy, so it's in P. Solving a Sudoku is hard, so it's in NP.
Well, it's not hard if you're David,
That's true. But David is just operating at a different level. So there's a big theory where people are wondering if all these hard problems are actually easy problems or not. And so the question of is P equal to NP or not is one of the biggest open problems. In fact, if you guys solve it, you'll get $1 million from the Cray Institute.
Not from us, but do give us a nice bonus. We would definitely appreciate that.
That would be appreciated.
Yeah. There are 7 problems, 7 open problems, or is it 6 now?
There are 7 open problems. One of them was solved.
Yeah, was one of them solved.
And the guy who solved it was like, I don't want the $1 million.
Yeah,
really?
So he rejected the Fields Medal. And $1 million.
He rejected the Fields Medal
even
too.
the medal.
Yeah. I don't know. These people,
they're just on an
this is an example of another man who is so dedicated to the craft, where he doesn't care.
He doesn't
about
want to be like. Yeah, he's not looking to be recognized. He just cares that it was solved.
Yeah, he cares about the thought that goes into it, which is again what I mean, if I were there, I would totally take the $1 million and the Fields Medal.
Oh yeah,
but it's really cool seeing these people. Like I'm surrounded in life by all these people who are so good at what they do.
So amazing, yeah.
Like I grew up solving Rubik's cubes, and I went to competitions, and I saw these people who had dedicated like 10 years of their life to practicing the cube, and now can solve it in like 5 seconds.
That's
amazing. It's just
insane.
I feel like that the feeling of that motivation would be like a really nice thing to have. Like that motivation.
Well, I'm so torn. Like I don't know if I want to feel that or if I want to have a balanced life.
See, I read an article where the meaning of life is to be useful, not happy.
Yeah.
And it made a lot of sense, right? Like, I typically feel like fulfilled if I've done something useful, whether or not it's writing an article, doing things on time,
Sure.
making other people feel happy, doing something for others. That is very important, I think, to pretty much everybody.
Or should be, rather, yeah.
Yeah. Well, should it be? Yeah. Maybe, like, from a societal point of view, yeah. But, so then I was just thinking, like, last night I was thinking, okay, like, how would I feel if I was, for example, like, I think, how do you say, Tigran Petrosian, he's a chess grandmaster. He's called Iron Tiger, like, amazing chess player. And he was so devoted to chess, you know, his wife was saying, like, he didn't care about trivial things like taking care of his hair, you know, self-care, because it just didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. So chess was like everything to him.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've honestly always kind of fantasized about being at a level like that, because then I feel like, you know, maybe I would be driven mad, but I would know that I'm doing something useful.
And
I know that I'm really progressing,
right?
Pushing something, yeah. If I'm just well balanced and I'm not really like good at anything, like I'm just okay, like sure, I can code, yeah, I can talk about things, I can go on my board, but you know, I can't take my board and do like a 360 flip off of like off of the 20 set. I can't. I'm not an entrepreneur selling a company.
Sure.
I'm not a grandmaster in chess. I'm not a politician. I'm not on Jeopardy saying all these.
But is there anything wrong with that?
Trivia.
Is there anything wrong with
just it's all about what
well balanced?
What would make you happy? Like honestly, I feel like that has caused me some, I guess, sadness. So that then I just kind of defer to saying, oh yeah, I'm just not built for it. Maybe I should just accept that. Maybe I'm just meant to be like a well-balanced person, but I'm never going to be truly remarkable.
I honestly think that there's nothing wrong in thinking that, because I personally do believe that these people who are so dedicated to their craft, they're physically just wired differently, like that their brain cells fire differently or something like that.
Or it could just be an event, in their early childhood that
they have something that really
or like something very fun,
really pushed them to that.
And if we haven't had that, then it, like, I'm not saying it's not possible, but it would be a lot harder to get to
that stage. It would feel more
stage of
forced.
dedication to something.
Here's a question. Now, let's say hypothetically you could solve the P versus NP problem. And then I came down, I was some like, you know, weird being. I was like, hey, look, I can grant you the ability to solve it, but you will also be driven mad as you do it, and you will die like early. So it's kind of like
it's not enough to
because you'll go insane and like die from like, you know, with booze in your hand or something like that, right? Or okay, for example, like a jazz musician who's like, you know, like Charlie Parker, right? Like, you know, a lot of them were heroin addicts and they died relatively early, but they're also
so good.
Yeah, like virtuosos, like they were amazing.
Yeah.
Now, would you choose to be, let's say, miserable, or just be driven mad, but then do something
brave?
Fuck me. Dude, okay, how about this? Do something amazing.
Okay.
Or just kind of be like an average Joe.
Okay.
And be happy.
Okay, wait. So like either do something amazing, right? But like die early
and
like
sad.
Okay,
and
so
how
about not necessarily die early? Like I'm saying I'd probably come with it, but like just because you're not taking care of your health or something. So really do something like absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But, you know, kind of be like unhealthy. Like you might not be exercising, or like you'd be driven mad because you're so obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Or just be healthy, live a long healthy life, you know, have family.
Yeah.
But then never really achieve something like solving P versus NP, or becoming like advancing jazz, or becoming a chess grandmaster.
I thought it's for a long time.
It's sort of like Achilles' choice, right? Like he was told, you will die early, but you will like be an amazing warrior.
Yeah, so like, you know, it's like asking,
or
hey,
you can remain here for the rest of your life, but never actually really accomplish this.
Yeah. It's like asking, hey, do you want to live, up to 50, but like have an amazing life, or live up to 100 and just have an average life?
Sort of.
Kind of, yeah.
But what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. It's very hard for me because, well, the thing that scares me the most is death. So dying early is like
definitely a very bad thing for you.
Just no. And I also value happiness over many other things in life. I feel like because we all
just
have
feeling good,
because we all have a limited time, we should try to feel as good as possible. So that would hint towards being more of an average Joe, but living a very happy, and honestly, happiness would be fulfilling enough for me. So living a happy and fulfilling life. But then again, the temptation of being the best in something out of 7 billion people in the world is it's huge. It's just so strong.
It's unsurmountable, honestly.
If I solve P versus NP, like everybody will know who I am.
No.
Well, I mean,
honestly,
you know what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Now, okay, is this coming from like a selfish point of view? Like for example, maybe we like it. It also depends on like where you're coming from. Like if you maybe have like a selfish viewpoint, you might want to be like, I want to be recognized as like the best at something, so people will remember me. Or would you rather like just advance something because it's just good for people in general,
for humanity, right?
So for example, like Froman didn't accept the Fields Medal. He didn't accept the prize. I mean, I did hear someone said like he didn't want to have like the Russian mob after him or something. But I also think he said like it's just this is not what I think mathematics is. Or
shouldn't be about like prizes and stuff.
Yeah, like this is just I'm solving something that's this is good for people, but I don't need to be recognized. It just was done.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, maybe one comes with the other. Like if you are at that
level,
then maybe fame doesn't really matter to you. Because you're already at that level.
You just feel so fulfilled already.
You're already so dedicated to your craft. You don't care what other people think about you. But at least like where I am now, I don't feel that way obviously because I'm not at that level. So yeah, like me solving P versus NP would definitely come from at least some selfishness, wherein I'd want people to know I am the guy that solved P versus NP. But then at the same time, if I ever get to the point where I saw P versus NP, maybe I'm just so dedicated to it that it doesn't matter to me anymore.
So here's a question, kind of about like whether or not you want recognition. Let's say you give a homeless person $5, you buy them a meal. Now, would you tell people about it, or do you just do it because it's a good deed?
I do it because it's.
You just do it because I mean, I'm sure that it will feel good for others to, like see you and be like, oh, you did such a great thing. But that should not be the purpose of that,
because
right?
There are a lot of videos where people be like recording themselves giving people things.
And
there is it could have a good impact, like inspire other people to do it. But at the same time, I'm looking at it like, are you just doing it because you want people to say that you're good?
Maybe.
Like, is it like, and again, I mean, something being selfish doesn't make it bad. Like you may doing good things for other people makes you feel good, and then you can argue it is a selfish thing. It's like it's mutually good. I just find that interesting, right? Like, do you need recognition? Should you get recognition? Is it wrong to get it or not?
I mean, I feel like that is like helping somebody out. I feel like that is a small enough contribution that maybe you don't need to be publicized for it. But like solving, being the best in the world.
But rather it's would you want to be recognized,
or just like why, right?
Why? Why do you want to be recognized?
Like, what is the point?
I mean, honestly, I feel like that would be another motivator for me. But again, as I mentioned at that point, maybe I don't need motivators.
Yeah.
So.
But like in the case of Alex, he did do it just for himself. He said, I don't even care if there's a crew or not. I just want to do it.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. I mean, like
when they won the Oscar, he didn't really care, right? Like he was gonna go back and rock climb it, like right after, right?
I didn't watch that, but it's very possible.
Yeah.
I mean, he did say that, but then also like it also makes me wonder, like he did in the end have
the crew,
like sure, he might not have done it for
the movie,
but I mean,
it's a nice bonus, right? It's like you get to make a movie out of that.
Thinking about that, like, But again, in the movie, they portray very strongly that the movie was very much second fiddle to him actually
Yes.
doing it. And I'm inclined to believe them because
Yes, he does seem
extremely
genuine.
dangerous.
Yeah.
They didn't if they get in his way and that causes him to fall. That's you have a man's life on your conscience then, and that's not.
That's hard to live with.
Yeah.
And I do think that people thinking you're amazing does make you feel good
It does.
because it just affirms that you are good. Right?
Yes, it's true.
Um,
But again, I don't think that you need to do something huge to get that feeling.
No,
you know,
no,
you can be just good
absolutely
amongst
not.
your friends. You know,
Yeah,
do good small things.
one thing that I value the most is being good to others or to the planet and
Exactly,
just kind of
yeah.
inspiring.
and
other
that should make you
people.
feel good enough. Right?
It does make me feel good, and
Yeah.
that's probably one of the most fulfilling things that I've come across
Yes.
throughout my life so far. And that kind of motivates me to continue. If I can inspire other people, if I can just know that I'm trying to be better or good, and maybe help other people to see that, or make other people feel better. If I buy a homeless person a meal, it does make me feel good. But then I also know, to me, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
And I
You're doing something
I
good
can
for
continue
yourself.
to have this
Yeah.
impact.
Yeah.
Merely, I think that we're all just animals pretending to be something more.
That's why. Yeah. That's
And-
why I believe that we're too smart for ourselves, because in the end we may just be simple beings that yet want to achieve so much. Is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know. I don't think it's wrong to wanting to achieve greatness and success. I don't think that there's nothing inherently wrong with just being really good and getting the recognition that you deserve for that. Although I do think that too much fame can lead to bad events, a bad life, because it's just not natural for anyone to receive that much attention. You wouldn't even want that, right? For example.
Yeah, this reminds me of something that mom used to tell me. She used to tell me that she wants me to be rich and famous, but not too rich and not too famous,
Just
because
minimum.
when you get too rich and too famous,
There's a threshold.
it's negative.
There's a threshold.
It's
yeah.
there'll be people resenting you for how much money you have, people resenting you for how famous you are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or
just-
if you think the most rich and the most famous now, I guess if you're really rich, the richest man is not that Jeff Bezos. Sure, he's kind of famous, but he's not nearly as famous as some movie stars.
Yes,
or some singers,
but-
or some soccer stars, or
But
whatever.
I
sport.
can think of people resenting Jeff Bezos for how rich he is. I can see people resenting Cristiano Ronaldo for how famous he is. I can just get into that point.
There's jealousy, right?
Yes.
That arises. Yeah. I guess that is a very good point too. I guess you also should want to find balance with how famous you are. Sure, you want to solve P versus NP, but then you don't want to get too famous.
This makes me wonder, do animals in the wild have concept of fame? In a pack of lions,
The way that I see
is
this,
there a lion that's that
He's
lion?
the
I don't
boss.
think it's concept of
he's
fame,
the
but
boss.
it's concept of dominance and
Yeah.
being alpha,
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
In the end,
And
well,
we are we do have that in ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that we have to kind of learn to not really listen to it. But I
But
mean,
why is that not kind of
mean,
like
we
a
are
because
natural
it
thing?
can be very harmful, right? In society,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, again, it depends on in individualistic versus collectivist, society,
Yes.
things like that. You can also debate that. I personally think it's important to just be humble. That I value that a lot, and I wasn't. No one's really born initially humble. We are all
Born selfish, kind of. Yeah, we all
yeah,
want the
we,
milk
we
from
all
our mom.
it is just it's the nature of humans.
Yeah.
We are animals, right? We are. I see it as kind of we are born with the drive to survive,
Yeah.
and these being selfish,
Yeah.
wanting to be alpha and stuff like that is good for your survival.
You gotta read
but
the
then
Selfish Gene.
we kind of have to. Yeah, I do need to read it. I really want to.
It's an amazing book.
But being intelligent, we start to ponder. Okay, now we live in a society
Yeah.
where we live with other people. Is it's really good to be selfish, and etc.
Yeah.
And I do think that being selfish is important, but only to a certain extent.
Yeah. So I feel that with everything that we talked about, there was always a line, right? Like, okay, it's good to do this, but not too much, right? And so that's why I believe that having balance in the end would be the best option, right? Although going back to the initial problem, right? If everyone were to have a balanced life, then you wouldn't have anyone that would dedicate their whole life to doing something great. And thus society wouldn't benefit as much from people that had a balanced life.
I guess I see it kind of like
right?
statistically as we will, because I do see it as like, again, people maybe are wired or just like a certain event really inspires them or gets them to do something like that amazing. Just the number of people that are born, you will get a bunch that will go on to do something really amazing, like above and beyond. It's really important. Most people are just average, but you will always like, just even if the chance is like 0.01%, right, or like.
So to do good, would you want to, become someone that's super good at something? Like, is that like the morally right thing to do? Or would you...
To be good?
Well, like if you want to do the most good for society, right?
I think it's possible to do more good even if you're more split out. Like you can do like...
Good in different ways,
If the most good you can do in life is 1 unit, right? Maybe you can do 0.1 units of good in 11 things instead of 10, making you do 1.1 units of good instead of...
But then the most would not be 1.
Yeah, but
no.
your
like,
overall
in
impact.
doing one thing, you can like, do
maximum.
one.
Sure.
It's also logarithmic, right? Like
it makes sense.
At the beginning, it's a lot easier to get really good at something, but then to go that last 2%,
it's really
takes just as much.
No, it's logarithmic.
It's logarithmic. Like how good
Oh
you
yeah,
can
okay,
get.
yes.
I guess it depends where you put time.
I was kind of thinking about it in terms of like
time
how
like
hard it is
x-axis.
to innovate something, because it's like the more time goes on, like then you have to you have like a higher bar.
Yeah. So
I was thinking about how much good you can do over a certain time.
Yeah.
So like it's much easier to give 10% of effort to 10 things than it is to give 100% of your effort to one thing.
Of course. So perhaps.
And so you can, in general, do more good by doing 10 things, but in reality, nobody's going to do 10 things. They're
like
more
3 or
likely.
4.
Plus, you can also see it as also like your impact is how many people you can affect in a good way. So, for example, like I don't need to be completely devoted to like being an activist, but if I made like a video or a speech where it got like 10 million views, and then let's say like just even 1% of the viewers were like, dang, I want to do whatever thing you were talking about.
Yeah.
Well, then I've done something pretty amazing.
Exactly.
I would say.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I think that you could also argue that, solving P versus NP, right, will affect, a lot of people, but it will only affect them by say 1 unit, right? Whether, well, I mean, it's just, sure, it's a huge proof, but say that instead you went out and, you gave food to 10 people.
Well, yeah, because
people.
also,
wouldn't you giving how much more? You'll be giving.
Okay, I feel like I'm going to go on a thing about P versus NP, but solving P versus NP has profound philosophical ramifications on everything we do.
So to get to the philosophical level, there's Maslow's hierarchy, right? Your poor homeless man could not care less about the philosophical level of P versus NP if he can't live until the next day, right? So that's exactly why philosophy first,
fair enough.
First grew up as a thing. When society was able to have slaves, right? They would do all the agricultural work. Then people had free time, and that's how they were able to ponder on these things. So until we don't satisfy those first levels, then no one will care about these higher order.
Are you saying slavery was a good thing?
No, actually, I mean that's another topic, but it did do some good things, right? History is history, so it did do some good things. It's not good, right?
Yeah.
But was it necessary?
No.
That's it.
We'll talk about that next episode.
Anyways, yes, I think that we covered a lot here, and then
I have more questions though, but we can always extend it.
Yeah, definitely. But this started as a free solo kind of critic, and then it kind of went
I
from
really
there.
did like the documentary.
Yeah,
well, I feel like I need to watch it now.
It was really good.
And I think that everything that we covered still went that it still applied to Alex, right?
Yeah.
Because he still did do he did this great thing, and he didn't seek any.
But no, another thing David mentioned somewhere through it, which I thought would be fun to expand upon, was something along the lines of rock climbing is not as useful as
Sure.
advancing some other field.
Yeah.
So like, is it good to dedicate your life to something like rock climbing, where the impact you're necessarily making is just like, oh, look what the human body can do, more than...
But no, the impact
Hey, look,
is,
this
is
is-
not the activity itself, but is what, others are inspired to do from
Sure,
that.
others would be inspired to do rock climbing, but like,
Yes.
on a societal perspective, is that more good?
I wouldn't say good, I would say useful. Like, it's less useful than other things, but,
Yeah.
it can be equally as good.
No, but like that's like, it was interesting
Yeah,
to
sure.
think
It's
about.
just something we can talk about.
I mean, that's any physical sport. Oh, you can run 100 meters in like 8 seconds. Wow! Okay, great.
Again, I honestly think it's just all going back to like the nature of how we are always looking to just to push limits.
Yeah.
Right? Like we will
And it
never
never
be
ends.
satisfied
It never
with
ends.
just saying, "Oh yeah, you know what? I can't answer this question about why we exist, so I'm just never gonna think about it." Like we just can't. We can't not do that.
Yeah, it just will always be there. And Neil suffers from that at night in his bed when he can't sleep.
Yeah. So like it
Not death, man. Like, death is, oh god.
this extends to like every single aspect of life.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, everyone has like preference for activities, or they all care about something different. But
Yeah.
we have billions of people, so like, just we always get different
Yeah. How do you choose,
habits
right?
and lifestyles and such.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
yeah,
So
I mean,
sometimes
like,
I
we're always
question
pushing
recreation.
limits.
Sometimes I question recreation. Like, is recreation important? Like, there's people who dedicate their lives to, gaming, and I'm just like, why? Like, this is
If you...
again, like, I'm not saying don't do it. Like, yes, you like it, you're amazing at it, fair enough. But like, from a larger scale perspective, like, it's...
But see, if we're all selfish, then you're just doing what makes you happy. So shouldn't that be good enough, right?
No, I'm saying we shouldn't be all selfish. Like, I know I'm selfish. I know it's bad. I know everybody
everyone
is selfish.
is,
I know
yeah,
there's
to a
nothing you
certain
can do about it. But I just feel like it would be great if we weren't selfish. Like, sometimes I wonder what would happen if the whole world pulled together to do like one thing.
We can definitely do it.
What would happen?
But see, like, with entertainment, that's with anything, right? It can be gaming, it can be sports.
See, it's different when you're gaming. Yeah, even sports. It's different when you're playing sports as a fun way to just blow off steam. It's
No.
different
as
when
a
you're doing
sport.
it competitively.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Isn't that...
no,
so-
same thing.
Yeah, okay.
All
Then
recreational
movies, series,
movies is different because movies
or
to
like
me-
writing even. Like, any writing is just entertainment because you're reading, right? Just entertainment.
movies, like, you're not making a movie to win a movie prize. You're making a movie to entertain people.
Okay.
Whereas you're playing sports to win a prize.
You may be playing...
Okay, but
it-
also people don't necessarily just create art because for others, right?
Yeah.
It's just like it could be like a self-actualization thing.
Sure.
Or that they have so much so much creativity, right? It's
I'm okay with that.
Just
But
pouring out.
are you saying that it's bad to dedicate your life to gaming because the world isn't benefiting from that in any way, or because of the intent? Because
yeah, in a way, like.
but then again, anything that is not useful directly then is just a waste. Like even art is a waste because it's not useful to society.
Sure,
Although
yes.
I would argue it is useful because it can enhance your creative mindset. It can allow you to feel different things.
I mean, yeah, I'm not like traditionally a fan of arts personally. I just never really understood it. I never grew up in that mindset. So yeah, like to me, even arts are like, yeah, why do people do this? Because again, I don't engage with it. Like music is basically art.
Yeah.
But I would say no, it's great that people are doing music because I engage with music on
Yeah.
a daily basis. So
I think it goes back to Maslow's hierarchy, right? Like, it's not as so like things become useful once the previous levels of it have been fulfilled. Like, I wouldn't say that art is useful until there's no more poverty in the world.
Yeah, because
right?
you wouldn't give someone that's homeless a paintbrush. So
Hey,
yeah, go.
here's this painting. Look, it's great. Oh, I want food.
See, it's also you can look at it from like a libertarian point of view too,
Yeah.
right? Like just some people really enjoy it, so they should have, since they're not going to be affecting other people
Yeah, sure.
negatively, then they should be able to then
Yeah.
pursue that because that's what makes them fulfilled. That's what makes them feel useful. But then we'd have a problem if all we did was arts and not like medicine or something. because
Again, you need to fulfill
Yes,
the first
but-
levels first. Like
Yes.
medicine affects the very basic
Yeah.
levels, right?
Yeah.
Once you have that, then you can go
Yeah.
and do.
But if people, instead
rest.
of dedicating their lives to art, dedicated their life to medicine, where would we be now?
Yeah, no, but like, see, there are too many doctors now. For example, like there's only.
it is so.
It's not. It's not
It's
just
not
the
about
people.
doctors.
No,
it's not
it-
about profession. It's
it's a
about-
system as well, right? Like, sure, if you want to have more people that dedicate their time to medicine, then you need to have the infrastructure and you need to have the
I do think
interest.
that,
you need to have the
hypothetically-
interest, right? Because now
If-
governments, like, we don't need that many more doctors, right? Actually,
Well, no.
I think that society has a greater desire for entertainment than the need for doctors.
I think
As
I
a
think
whole.
I think we should selectively breed humans so we get exactly what we need. I'm kidding.
that is another.
That's
Topic.
Brave New
I'm
World.
kidding.
We're going into Brave New World
Eugenics,
now.
man.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Eugenics is very interesting and scary to think
I
about.
think that we should have an episode on that.
Yeah, we should. Okay, well, anyways, I think that we can expand on this in another episode, perhaps. We can see what you guys say in the comments. We can, see what some more inputs are, and then we can take it from there. So I think this was good, and that we can continue in the next one.
Gucci.
In the meantime, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Let us
Do
know
watch
what
Free
you
Solo.
thought of it. Yes, do watch Free Solo, definitely,
Yes.
and do reach.
It seems really good. I'm
yes,
definitely going to watch
it
it.
is, and do read the Selfish
Selfish
Gene.
Gene.
It's also an amazing book by Richard Dawkins. Yeah.
Francois P versus MP, please. Thank you.
So homework, you gotta check out P versus MP, Free Solo,
Yes.
that's documentary, The Selfish Gene,
Yeah.
and you have to
Like and
our
subscribe.
video.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching,
Yeah.
and take care, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.
See ya. Bye.